In January of 2000, a certified letter including a physical sample of highly unusual airborne fibrous material is sent to Carol M. Browner with a request for identification of the material on behalf of the public environmental and health interest. The EPA responds again in February of 2000 in two separate letters with the statement that they are, quote, unaware, unquote, of any programs to disperse materials into the atmosphere using aircraft. The EPA does not acknowledge the receipt of or the existence of physical materials within the correspondence. In October of 2000, a series of more than 1,000 petition letters of concern was sent to Carol Browner as an indication of significant citizen concern on the aerosol issue. The EPA responded once again in December of 2000 that they continue to remain, quote, unaware, unquote, of any aerial application of chemical or biological substances that may have an adverse effect upon the population. After a period of approximately 6 months, the EPA continues to take no action regarding the identification of the physical sample under their custody, and no acknowledgment of the receipt of that sample is made. The discovery of unusual biological components within that sample by independent researchers heightens the concern for identification of that material. In response to an inquiry from Senator Jesse Helms of North Carolina to the Environmental Protection Agency, Region 4, the EPA once again responds with the phrase of choice, that is, the EPA is, quote, not aware, unquote, of any programs to disperse materials on the population using aircraft. The EPA expresses its appreciation over concern about protecting the environment and is hopeful that their reply addresses any concerns. Greenpeace, an international environmental organization, when contacted regarding the aerosol issue, stated in September of 2000 that they are, quote, unable to comment, unquote, and that they do, quote, not have an official position, unquote, on the matter. In a separate correspondence, Greenpeace responded to a citizen that they are concerned about global environmental problems and that they do not have local chapters that can help with this particular situation. In October of 1999, Senator Jeff Bingaman of New Mexico replied to a concerned constituent that the Air Force has assured to him that what is being observed are simply normal aircraft contrails. It is further stated that although there may be the appearance of an aerosol operation, this is not the case. Senator Bingaman also informs the constituent that he will ensure that the Air Force will reassure people about this issue. United States Senator Richard Lugar replies to a constituent in July of 2000 that what is being observed is simply a normal contrail, as has been seen since the close of World War II. Furthermore, Senator Lugar states that the FAA, NOAA, the EPA, and academic professors have examined the claims only to find out that they have been made by disreputable sources and that upon challenge provide no evidence or data. Representative Mike Thompson of California replies in April of 2000 to a concerned individual that what is being reported and observed is simply a normal consequence of aircraft traffic and that there is no environmental hazard or risk to health. The State of New Mexico Environment Department in September of 1999 acknowledges a number of complaints received regarding aircraft activities over the skies of Santa Fe, New Mexico. The Environment Department declares that the, quote, data, unquote, does not suggest that any illegal or clandestine activity is occurring. A scientific document that discusses the nature of normal contrail formation is included within the reply to the New Mexico resident. The citizen is advised to keep the department abreast of any concerns. The Attorney General of New Mexico, Patricia Madrid, in November of 1999, also acknowledges multiple inquiries to her office regarding unusual aircraft operations. The Attorney General declares that there is, quote, substantial evidence, unquote, that the activity and contrails are well within the range of normal aerial activity. After issuing this notice, Patricia Madrid declines to respond to 2 personal visits made to her office by Clifford Carnicom, a concerned citizen, to discuss the aerosol issue. The Ohio Environmental Protection Agency responds to a citizen in November of 1999 by stating that they are, quote, unable to complete an investigation, unquote, and that they do appreciate the concern expressed by the citizen about the environment. The ABC News 2020 investigative journalism staff respond that, quote, unfortunately, unquote, a request for examination of the aerosol issue was not chosen, and that 2020 thanks the citizen for thinking of them and being in touch. And in June of 2001, 1.5 years after the original submission, the United States Environmental Protection Agency acknowledged the receipt of the unusual fibrous physical material. This acknowledgment followed a Freedom of Information inquiry on the topic submitted by a citizen. The EPA refused to identify this sample, stating that it, quote, was not the policy of this office of EPA to test or otherwise analyze any unsolicited samples of material or matter. Since the beginning of 1999, a series of more than 36 scientific, physical, observational, and analytic methods have been used to examine the dramatic alteration of the atmosphere that has taken place. These tests have been conducted with much labor, time, and expense. They have been conducted with very limited resources and equipment, much of it requiring original construction, development, or modification. What follows is a partial presentation of these sampling methods. The diversity and thoroughness of examination is apparent in the work that has now spanned more than 5 years. The officials and authorities have not attempted to replicate these testing methods, at least not publicly. They have not reacted to the results in any formal fashion, and they have not tangibly responded to the many calls for public inquiry and investigation that have been made. The methods and results of all testing procedures are available on the website www.carnicom.com, and this research represents a substantial body of information that may be helpful in interpreting the designs and motivations behind the aerosol operations. Essentially, the method is one of reverse engineering for a global covert operation, and there is no limit to the work that remains to be done. These findings, conducted for more than 5 years, are offered to the public. These studies begin with an examination of contrails themselves, a very common and ordinary phenomenon involving the freezing of water vapor into ice and their subsequent dissipation through evaporation and mixing. Meteorological studies of contrail formation and cloud formation have been made. Visibility standards and their reduction from a maximum of 40 to 10 miles have been called to attention. A study of pH, or of acid and alkalinity level, of rainfall has been conducted by a network of concerned citizens across the country. Highly unusual statistical results are present in the vast majority of these studies. Telephotos have been captured in the earlier phase of operations that directly show emissions from aircraft that are in complete defiance of any normal contrail formation. These unusual emissions are not a result of environmental conditions. They originate from the aircraft and can be shown in these cases to have no dependence upon even the engines of the aircraft. HEPA, or high-efficiency particulate air filters, have been used in various states to directly filter the outdoor air in repeated tests. Some of the materials found include the repeated presence of unusual filaments, a gel formation, crystals, and powders.